Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. We are the Hollow Grumps. I'm Liam,
And I'm Colum.
and we're here today to review the latest episode of Westworld, Season 3, Episode 3, titled The Absence of Field. But before we start, if you like what you see here, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and comment below because it really helps our poor little channel.
Oh,
So, The Absence of Field. So this is a reference to a Mark Strand poem, Keeping Things Whole. And we knew that before we started.
I definitely knew that before I started. I said to Liam, "Isn't that a Mark Strand poem?" And he said to me, "Did you look that up?"
My favourite poet. So before we start, Colin, what did you think of the episode?
The episode itself was a big disappointment to me. It wasn't on par with the episode 2. To be honest, this has been a prevailing issue with the newest season of Westworld. When we started off with Westworld, we were promised a Western or something akin to a Western in some way, shape, or form. We were promised a fantastic world where people could live out their own little fantasies and where everyone was the player character, essentially. And it was an interesting take on that. Now it seems we're just in what is assumed to be the real world. And that's not what any of us who started watching this show signed up for. We don't really care about the real world. In the season 1, you never even see the real world. The closest you get is a train.
But that's, I think, what people liked about Season 1, the certain ambiguity about what kind of world these people lived in. And no matter what happened, you could always go to Westworld to take all your troubles away. I'd say that's one of the reasons why the ratings for the show have gone down a lot, because people don't really recognize the show that they're watching anymore. It's turned into kind of a dystopian,
Yeah.
you know.
It's almost like 1984, you know?
Yeah. But the aesthetic reminds me of something like Blade Runner now as well. And I suppose there is a lot of similarities between Blade Runner and Westworld.
But the thing is, obviously, through this episode, there are spoilers in this review, but through this episode, we discover that everything is being controlled by an AI to a certain degree. This AI is deciding people's lives and how they'll live and where they'll go and what kind of success they'll have in life. And if that isn't like 1984, it's like,
it's actually it's like Gattaca. If anyone's seen the film Gattaca with Ethan Hawke and Jude Law, where people determine what their kids' futures will be like because they genetically modify them. Then there's a system in place that decides what kind of jobs you'll have. Whereas this thing, I suppose, when people are in puberty, it decides when you have a cornerstone moment. Okay, that's that person's life, and they'll never amount to anything more than this, and we won't let them. So it's this type of thing that's been done before. So we're not really breaking any new grounds. This show was unique in its sci-fi take on an old Western world that had the potential to show us other parks like they did with Samurai World, and then of course we had War World in episode 2, which is I think why we enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I enjoy, like I said in the last review, I really enjoyed the aesthetics of those parts with Tandy Newton. Like, those were my favorite parts. I'd love if they just kept it centered inside the park, even if they were jumping from different park to different park, trying to evade people. But once they left it, it was kind of like they broke the fourth wall almost,
Yeah, it's like when the villain is unmasked and all of a sudden the mystery that was shrouding them is gone and we don't really care. Yeah, but so anyway, we'll dive into the episode. So we get a cold open. We get a flashback to the end of season 1 when the hosts start shooting all the shareholders at the party. Ford's last narrative. And she's trying to make a recording to say hello to her son, or to say goodbye to her son. And then, Hale wakes up. She's been brought online by Dolores. And the big mystery for this episode is who is in Hale's mind. Who did you think was, Colin?
I thought it was Teddy.
Yeah, I think everyone thinks it's Teddy. There are other speculations, of course, that it could be like William, the Man in Black, maybe a young rolled back version of his control unit. There are hints to that. Whether or not it's true.
There are hints in the episode that it is Teddy. There are also very subtle hints that it is in fact William as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like the speculation part. I don't think the speculation part is ever the thing that I have a problem with in this show. It is the characters, the acting. So Dolores tells Hale that she is going home, and then we get our opening credits. So we open up with badass Hale smoking whilst Delos Corp is building Transformers. Oh no!
It reminded me of RoboCop. I have a big feeling these are gonna come important later on when Dolores gets her hands on them.
Yeah, they'll wish they didn't build all these robotic devices that are remote controlled that people can hack into on a whim, especially when they're dealing with hosts.
Anytime a robot dies in this series, I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, I feel like they're pets. And then, of course, the EMTs notice that the faux police are pulling them over. And the faux police shoot everyone. And the EMTs get killed. But it's okay. Dolores comes back to life and saves herself. So Hale returns home, and we get a nice little relationship between Hale and her son, Nathan, which was one of the charming parts of the episode.
But it's not her son, so, you know.
Hale's son, Nathan, knows something's wrong with her, and he doesn't believe that it's her. He wants his real mommy back. And this kind of plays in later with Caleb's mother also not believing that he is her son. So maybe they're talking about the innocents here that might be able to figure out who the hosts are. So Hale gives up waiting for Dolores and goes to find her herself by drinking in a hotel, which must have some significance. I don't know what to even say about Dolores' acting.
It's robotic.
I don't know. They deliberately wanted to be robotic, I would imagine. But it doesn't play well on television. It's back to the old Star Trek problem, the conundrum of why you shouldn't have a Vulcan playing your lead character, Michael Burnham. They're not interesting to watch. And this is what you have with Dolores, the robotic character that is taking up all of the screen time. It hurts your brain. Like, as soon as she walks on screen, it's like, oh, God, what's going on?
The worst part is the fact that there's no sense of wonderment with her. She's robotic, but not in the way that, say, Commander Data was, in that everything was new. Everything was a new experience to him. Language, colloquialisms, body language. But to her, everything's just easy.
And I really want somebody to tell us in the comments, please, why should we like Dolores? Why is she an interesting character?
But it is setting her up almost to be the villain of the show, which is nice.
Which would be good.
Yeah.
But we don't have to watch her at all times to be a good villain. It takes away the mystery of the character.
Well, I know Serac is the villain, but I think she's a villain.
Dolores gets a room for herself and Hale to go to so she can decide, will I be able to fix what's going on with her because she's self-harming, or will I have to kill her? And I didn't even care. And it's hard to get invested in the character under the assumption that it's Teddy, because these shows can go anywhere. So then we get the scene of Caleb visiting his mother, which is what I was talking about, that these innocent characters, well, his mother mightn't be innocent, you never know, his cornerstone, where these characters seem to be able to recognize that there's something wrong with people, that they're not real, or that they're hosts. So she doesn't believe that Caleb is her son. So you never know. Take it for what it is. Just my observation. So on his way out, the Palookas are after him to find out where Dolores is. And they grab him. They bring him upstairs. They hold him over a ledge. But it's okay. Dolores is now looking for him. She's wondering, who is this mysterious man?
This whole thing, right, is so bizarre. They don't use conventional methods to hurt the guy. They just turn on his implant and turn his heart up to give him a panic attack and leave him there. And this causes his robot to come up. That robot didn't deserve to die. I know it didn't die. It wasn't even sentient, but it was shaped like a human, which made me feel so bad for it. It didn't have a choice. It was just trying to help the man not fall off a cliff.
So Dolores unexpectedly saves Caleb. Like, who wrote this fan fiction of a character? He never needed to save her, because if he just had it called Nobody, she would have just kind of fixed herself up.
She's hardened to the world.
Yeah.
She's became someone who started off season 1 needing constant saving, because that was her program. She was programmed to be saved no matter what, because if she wasn't, like, bad things happened to her. But now, now we've watched 2 seasons. We're on 2 seasons of her just being the killing machine. And how is that interesting? Sorry, I'm just a bit sore after watching episode 2 and how much I enjoyed it to moving on to this. I was really hoping, I was really, really rooting for the show.
I really thought it could be better. And maybe it can. We still haven't got the Man in Black in it. So we go back to Hale, who catches a predator in the park with her son, and he's a, One thing I did notice about this scene, of course, Hale, while she's strangling the predator, says, "I'm remembering who I am. A predator." And I just noticed she was wearing all black, and part of me thought it was kind of reminiscent of the Man in Black.
It could be. Now, I completely missed this. I thought she was actually a predator that fought Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I thought that was the reference.
But I'd say what the intention behind that line was she's remembering who Hale is. And remember, Dolores says that Hale was a predator. So that's probably what they were getting at there. So Caleb is convinced by Dolores to stay on as her patsy. There is a certain nice irony to Dolores now being the one who wakes the humans.
Or are they humans?
So Hale meets with Serac, who tells her that Dolores is the key to everything. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the episode. So, Colin, what are your thoughts moving forward?
Moving forward, I sincerely hope they get back to what they're good at, which is creating fantastical period pieces. That's what I really want to see. It's one thing out of everything. Like, Liam here is the specialist on Westworld. Not specialist, but he certainly knows more than I do. I'm just a passing observer. And the thing I liked most about it was the Old West. I liked seeing Red Dead Redemption. I liked seeing that little glimpse of Samurai World. War World looked incredible. And now I'm just stuck in a dystopian future. I don't want to have to look at the future I'm going to be living in 50 years' time.
Especially the timing of the series. Like, this season is the worst timing of any television series, considering that we're all stuck at home in quarantine.
And nobody's watching it. My problem with it is it doesn't captivate me in the way. Even Picard captivated me, because with Picard, I had such a wealth of knowledge going into it, as in it was an established lore, so I could pick apart the little bits of information. With this, what I'm finding is I'm being given information, and then that information is immediately being acted upon by the characters, and I don't have time to process it. And it's not really world building if you're just being told things 5 seconds before and then they're being acted out.
Yeah, and they're trying to do it with the character of Teddy at the moment, or rather Hale, by making us speculate who is this character. But really it just comes across as shallow writing, because Dolores seems to be jumping through hoops to not say who this character is to their face. But there are very interesting points in this show, and in particular in this episode, that they are developed, but I'm so not invested in the characters. I just don't care. Like, we have Caleb's story, which is an interesting one. It kind of mirrors the Man in Black. Both their lives have been turned around by the character of Dolores, looking for some kind of truth to their existence. But the Man in Black storyline ended with a disaster, and he's completely alone. His wife commits suicide. He killed his own daughter, and this could be the thing that sets Caleb on this road where he kills himself in the future, and that could have been what the algorithm predicted the whole time.
That would be very impressive for an algorithm to do that, but
what if it's not even the real world? That's the thing. So, of course, Sarek meeting with Hale could have been him beaming into the simulation.
This is his predestined future. Predetermined future, that he was always going to die there no matter what, because he's programmed to.
Yeah, exactly. And the system always knew he'd help Dolores, and maybe Dolores destroys the world. He didn't know. Like, does Dolores ever say to him that she's a host?
No.
I don't think so. He'd probably just assume she's a real person.
Anyway, we're going to close it out there. So, if you like what you see, if you enjoy what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. And comment below for any opinions, any speculations about the episodes coming up, or what you thought of the episode. For the Hologrumps, I'm Colin.
And I'm Liam.
And remember, existence is futile.